This is the pettiest episode.
I am being extra petty right now just because I think it's very comical.
Marriages for grown folks. The school that she went to would be equivalent to Eastside High on Lean On Me before Mr. Clark came in and turned it around.
It wasn't that bad when I was there. It did get worse after I left.
Now, come on, you far back. What's the school you said? What's my school? Bayside. From
he
the
went
hit
to
show
a suburb
Saved by the Bell.
School, just like
Mark, you ain't never seen Saved by the Bell?
Exactly. Gives you context, doesn't it?
Anyway,
that's exactly
that didn't go the way I thought. I would, before we get into tonight's, we're going to talk about love. Types of love.
Okay.
We've had some conversation this week, very good, very insightful. And our motive, our mission, one of our missions is to shed perspective, give perspective for individuals, couples, exiting relationships, entering into romantic relationships.
Or trying to stay in a relationship. Or
trying to stay, because the psalmist declared it is cheaper to keep her. So we love relationships with pro relationships.
Absolutely.
You cannot make it in this day and hour that we're living in without healthy relationships, whether they be romantic, platonic. And so we hope that our content provokes thought, provokes conversation.
Yeah.
We've got some testimonies.
Provokes healing.
Yeah. Come on. We've got some testimonies we need to read the next episode. I forgot to cue them. But good things are happening.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I need to say this to the fellas, right? And that is,
here we go, y'all.
Where is it at? Y'all need to stay away from.
Are you serious right now?
Stay away from these. This not mine. I didn't buy this. This is not mine. This was someone gave this to me.
You sound so guilty right now. Somebody gave this to me. Where did you get it from, John?
I can't tell you that.
Somebody gave it to me.
The innocent will remain nameless. If you don't, what is it? If you don't know what it is, you don't need to know what it is, okay?
Human nature is people are going to want to know if they don't know, and they're going to search it.
Well, listen, I'm telling fellas.
You are introducing people.
It's all fun and games until the room starts spinning, until you get lightheaded.
Let me make a public service announcement. My husband is hypersensitive to like vitamins and supplements.
She put all my business out here tonight.
To this may not be your response to this. But what I will say as a nurse is just use wisdom and check the ingredients before you consume it.
First of all, you can't even read the ingredients because they from the Middle East.
On the website you order it from, it should have the ingredients on it. It has to in order for it to be sold in this country.
Let me tell y'all.
Just use
someone gave me just for a little razzle dazzle. You understand? Just for a little fun and games. And she didn't know that I took it. So I'm in the bathroom. And so she's in the bedroom. She said, what's taking so long? So I'm in the bathroom ripping the. And so I said, in a minute. Man, I didn't know you were supposed to dilute it. I just took it just straight to the head.
These are the reasons why I'm saying you may not have the same reaction now that you're getting full context.
I got so sick. I had her give me a COVID test. I just knew I had the Rona. The room was just. So that's not mine.
I know it's not yours because I know how sick you got.
I can't do it. So let's talk about love. Tell us why it is important to understand what love you are coming out of or loving through with the person that you're with.
So there are different types of love, first of all, which we're going to kind of go over tonight. But if you are in, let's say, a committed relationship with someone, and I'm saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, but I don't know what form of love I'm referring to, that love may diminish and it may leave you like, what happened? So, like, if I enter in the relationship in Eros love and it's just all about the erotic piece to a relationship, when you're trying to have a deep conversation with me, I'm going to be looking like,
let's get to business.
That's not what I love about you. You know what I love about you. Come on. Time to perform.
So, okay, we got to get into it. We got to ask our questions first. You ready? Who's going to start? You going to ask me? I'm going to ask you?
Yeah, you start.
Oh, so I'm going to ask her 3 questions. Mm-hmm. We came up with these questions. She's got to give her honest answer. She's going to ask me 3 questions. I'm going to give my honest answer. And I think that they'll lead into our content for tonight. Okay, first question is, what's one thing that I do that drives you, Casey and JoJo, crazy, crazy, crazy?
We have, like, what are they called? Bath sheets, like the long towels, because we're tall, in several different colors. At least 5 colors are available in just our bathroom in our room. Guess what? He can never remember what color his towel is. So I have to use about 5 drying towels during the week to have one that's just dedicated to my body, because he's always taking mine.
You know, with all that's like, going on in the world right now.
I forgot you had blue and I had gray. I forgot you had green and I had white. How do you forget?
You know what's happening? Those colors are not even closely related. It's a lot going on in the world.
You're trying to distract the people from the truth. Y'all,
okay, we don't want to stay on that one long. If we swapped roles for a day, what would you be most excited to experience? Don't say that about clean either.
Rest.
This is the pettiest episode.
I am being extra petty right now just because I think it's very comical. But I do a lot of stuff around the house that you don't even think about.
Come on now. We got a good wife. See, if you stick it out, everybody does their work, gets healed, and it could really be beautiful. Mm-hmm. You know, ebb and flow, give and take. True. Come on now.
Because if I need help and I ask him, he totally does it.
I mean, you shoot. Do you ever feel like I prioritize other things or people over our relationship? If so, who or what? Come on, let's air it out.
Currently or in the past?
You said you was going to.
I was trying to be nice because I already shot shots twice.
I know. Come on.
Just load up the clip.
I mean, just come on. It's relationship talk with no filter.
Okay, so say it one more time.
Do you ever feel like I prioritize other things or people over our relationship?
Currently, no. But yes, that was definitely like a huge topic in our relationship for several years, because I feel like it took you a while to find balance between like our relationship and ministry and being present for other people, because you have a lot of other relationships as well. So I feel like initially in the relationship, you were kind of like, oh, she'll be here. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Negro, you need to know I can leave. Don't be neglecting me, assuming that I'm just going to be here. I was talking just like this with my hands and everything. Don't be assuming that I'm just going to be here. You need to take care of me before you take care of all them other folks.
Okay, come on. Charity, start where?
At home. Then it spreads abroad.
I used to date a girl named Charity. So, how did that make you feel that season?
Neglected and used.
And you did what about it?
I kept telling you about it.
Until
it penetrated your brain and you knew it was a real issue and you knew I was really ready to leave.
So tell a wife, a young lady who's watching that is experiencing that, mm-hmm. give her some advice on, or even if it's the male and the role is reversed, mm-hmm. give them some advice on what to do with that other than just to keep saying it. Is there anything else you would add to it?
Yeah, I feel like check-ins are super important. I feel like the way in which you communicate is really important. I feel like sometimes we have a tendency to nitpick at stuff instead of really talking about what the issue is.
Yeah.
So I felt like everything you did wrong was like magnified in that season, but it was really just because I was in a deficit. So instead of just communicating like, hey, I really need time with you, and I know you're busy, but we really haven't had time. Instead, I was like, well, why you leave that sock right there? Why you didn't close the drawer? I just wasn't nitpicking at everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like using wisdom on how you communicate it and actually talking about what the problem is, not the byproducts.
That's good. We have gotten lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
More than we've had quality conversations in the beginning, arguing about the byproduct, not really the root of really what's going on, what's happening in the individual. And so it is draining because there are so many byproducts. There may be 1,000 byproducts to 2 problems. And so this content, I think, is so good to help couples that are especially new in marriage or engaged, young in the game, or even double digits in the game, but haven't, maybe need to redo some things that were in the foundation that were incorrect. But this content is, to me, is so good because it can help an individual pinpoint what the root issue is.
Right.
So if you can identify what the root issue to what you're feeling, if you can identify the leading emotion, anger is a secondary emotion. So if it's pissed off all the time, there was something that happened before we got angry.
Right.
So if we can pinpoint the root, it really does eliminate a lot of byproduct issues, and it helps you to pick your battles when you can go for the root.
And here's a cheat code, y'all. Whichever spouse is like super busy, has tons of stuff on their plate, if you have a way to include or incorporate your spouse, by all means do it.
Was good. All right, let's hit my 3.
Okay, question number 1.
Light work.
Is there anything about our relationship that you think would surprise people if they knew?
Yes. So I think that for us, in some things, this question, it sends me to think on like what is normal to us.
Right.
That might be abnormal to other relationships or couples, whether they've been married short time, long time. But we do something, I think we said it on one of our episodes, we'll do a check-in, not just an emotional check-in relating to us, but we'll also do a check-in of the opposite sex. Did you see anybody or did you encounter anyone who you were attracted to? Did anyone scratch you? We talked about this in episode 18.
Oh.
If someone at work scratched your itch, or if someone gave you something emotionally, met a need that you realized, when we do the next episode, we're going to talk about cheating. And there's a such thing called a close call. And so were there any close calls this week? Did anyone say anything that had your heat up asata moving? Did you feel anything move this week? So I think that, and I wanted to say this to that question, there is a place after you deal with the bulk of the bull, when you understand your history and that other person understands their history, there is a beautiful place in relationships where we can really talk about hard or difficult conversations that would normally cause an uproar, that can really just be a dialogue between 2 humans. And we can come to an agreement. You can understand me. I can understand you. So to answer your question, we'll do a check-in. If you was at the gym, did you see anything that looked good to you this week? Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is yes. And then we dialogue and discuss what, why, who, what, where, when.
Absolutely. Okay. Question number 2. Have you ever questioned if you truly meant to be together?
If we were truly meant to be together?
Yes. And what brought those doubts up?
One thing.
It don't have to be one. Whatever.
I'll give you one. Okay. Yes, I have felt like that. I think that because, as I told you, she went to Eastside High and I went to Bayside. We come from, but all jokes to aside, just for a second, we really came from 2 completely different worlds. And I didn't realize how polar opposite the worlds that we came from and some of the world views that we had and probably still have. Because we came from 2 different life experiences.
Absolutely.
Just a myriad of subjects, topics. So I really
Like
felt
he
like,
really want to be a thug so bad because he really a suburban kid.
ask me how many tattoos I have. Okay, so
You want me to ask?
no.
Okay, I was about to say.
So as I started to realize how different we were,
Yeah.
I was like, she can't be, we too different. And so I think the beautiful thing to investigating and to continuing on in this relationship, what we found out was that although our upbringings were drastically different in a lot of areas, those polar opposites have became support to one another.
Yeah.
So where she's weak, I'm strong. Where I'm strong, she's weak. And Bubba said that we can put our backs up against each other so that we don't have to sleep in the rain. We had to put our heads in the mud. So yeah, I had a lot of seasons very intensely where I thought, no, you too much. You just, no.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I have a big personality.
So we worked through it, and that big personality has worked. I love it now. There's benefits to big personality. Oh my God. this thing's big personality can't do that look. Okay. So
y'all please excuse him. He really on one today.
Yeah. I'm just warming up too. Y'all ain't heard nothing yet. Come on.
Okay. Question number 3. If we had to choose between staying together and following our personal dreams, which one would you pick?
If you would have asked me, I don't know, 10 years ago. Now, listen, we've been in the game 17 plus years. So I meant to tell you that when we first started. Y'all need to listen to what we're saying. Even if you don't do it, we got something to say. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have said my personal dreams. But now that like our purpose is aligned with one another, we complement one another. I don't really see me and you outside. You know, unless a car ran me over or something.
Oh, Lord, that's very.
Well, I mean, unless I went home to be with the Lord.
Oh, and then he swings the pendulum the other way.
Listen, I passed away in my sleep with family and friends surrounding me.
Why the visual? Just say if I was gone.
If I was not gone. Gone is if I go to work. If I died. I wouldn't have to make that choice just because we're intertwined.
Yeah.
So unless something happened to you or something happened to me, I would be faced with making that decision. But for the majority of what my call is and what your assignment is, they really complement one another. So there's not a need to have to separate the two. We can do it together. Okay. Is that all of them?
One more.
Oh my God.
Bonus question.
This is a 30 minutes.
What's one thing you think I don't understand about you that you wish I did?
Man, I have a sick sense of humor. I think you know that. Anything can be funny in any circumstance. Funerals, weddings, the hospital, court, church, mass, anywhere, something's gonna be funny. Now she tolerates it, but she don't understand it. So she recognizes it.
Yes.
But I really be holding back. So when I get with my brothers,
you know what's crazy? One of the main things that attracted me to him was his humor. But I really didn't know how unserious he is all the time.
It's almost like the most unserious people have the most serious jobs.
I'm not even about to start with you tonight.
Okay. So, was that good? Now, say
wild.
What you said again about, let's read these definitions.
Okay.
So I think there are at least, we found a lot of them. I think we're going to only deal with 6 or 7 of them.
Okay.
When somebody says, I love you.
Right.
Someone says, I love you.
Mm-hmm. You need to know what they're flowing out of. What type of love.
Come on, your mic is on.
Like, are we friends and I love you and I'm loyal and I got your back? Are we lovers and I love how you put that thing down? Are we life partners? And I'm like, man, I'm locked in with you and you can have the different.
Yeah.
Is it agape love and I love you because I'm a Christian and I'm supposed to love you like God loves me and how he loved the church?
You're just going to run all through my nose, ain't you? Come on. That's good.
Are we just family? You know, like, all right, that's my cousin or that's my brother and I'm going to hold you down because we got the same blood.
So let me say this before we define them. And I think you said it earlier. It is important to know what love you're moving in.
Mm-hmm.
With
Absolutely.
the Greek loves, it's not this relationship is just one love.
Yeah.
I don't just love you with just one love.
Right.
These sometimes will overlap, commonly overlap.
Especially in romantic relationships.
Yeah.
It's going to be several streams of love
Yeah.
that occur. But I feel like the person who's giving the love has to be aware, okay, I'm loving you out of what right now?
Yeah.
Am I loving you out of agape, or am I loving you out of,
Now
eros?
explain
Am I
why.
loving you out of stargate?
Why?
Because
Why?
your response can impact me if I don't know what I'm loving you out of currently. So if I'm administering grace and mercy to you, then I'm loving you out of agape. And I got to be clear, okay, right now you just giving your husband God love. This is not about him meeting all of your personal, love.
Yeah.
So
let me give you another example, a non-relationship example.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me to borrow, if I loan you $100, and
there's no such thing as him loaning me $100.
I'm not telling you, you're a stranger. Oh God,
it's my $100.
I'm trying not to get distracted. So let's say if someone says I need $100, and you give it to them,
I get the example
with the intent that they're going to pay it back.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know the principle, if you don't understand why you're even involving yourself in the first place,
right?
If they don't pay it back,
right?
If you're not clear on why you gave it or the motive in which you gave it, you're going to be bitter if you don't get it back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're clear on what love, if you're clear on your position in your heart on why you gave it, if you don't get it back, you're not messed up about it.
Absolutely.
But if you do get it back, it just is what it is. And so we were talking to an individual the other day, and then we're going to define these, that is in a relationship, and he did not know. He said that the young lady that he was in a relationship with said that she loved him first, and he said it back. But when we started to describe his love, it really wasn't the same kind of love that she was coming from. And so we explained it to him that if you and this young lady don't work out, they're dating, if they don't work out, this young lady is going to take it harder than he is, because where she's loving him from,
they loving from two different
is
places.
A completely different place than he's loving. So we're going to tell you those two definitions of what we assess that those two loves are coming from. Number one, you said it earlier, but let's deal with it. Eros.
Yes.
This is a romantic or passionate love.
Erotic eros.
Okay.
Just to put it in perspective. This is not, pull it back up.
Come on, let's hold it together.
This right here is not needed for eros.
But it can't help. Okay. I'm sorry. So, don't throw them. I got to give these back. So, it's about physical attraction, desire, and infatuation. Eros is often intense and rooted in physical and emotional feel. I'm just gonna set you up. Just, come on.
Okay. Yeah. Normally this is like super, super high in the beginning of a relationship, because it's like, oh my God, I think I found my person. So it just kind of ignites all of that for you. You have to be very careful in making decisions when you're in Eros, because normally you ain't thinking straight. You just going with what you feeling. And your feelings can steer you wrong sometimes, especially when you're talking about just attraction.
Now, let's add this to it. There is nothing innately wrong with Eros love.
Absolutely.
In our relationship, there's a dynamic of Eros concerning passion toward one another.
It's necessary.
And there's a place in your relationship that you can build after euphoria. You can build back to a strong, passionate bond with that individual. A lot of times when we first meet each other in the club or wherever you at, and emotions are high, and there's a over emphasis on the physical.
Right.
As the culture says, red flags. We start ignoring red flags because the passion is so high.
Right.
After the passion dwindles down, or the passion stays high, but the relationship is dysfunction, then we have an issue with Eros. That if that's the only thing that's holding the relationship together, that we've seen a lot of pain.
Your relationship cannot survive on sex alone.
All right, there
you
go.
need more than sex to build a healthy relationship. Now hear me. Sex is very important in a relationship. Christian relationship. Why do Christians not want to talk about sex? We're gonna have to do an episode on that. Christian's fear of talking about sex because God created it. So why are we struggling to talk about it? Okay, I got on the
I'm
tangent.
doing it.
Exactly. Because we're married. And to be quite honest,
I've been
that's the
doing
reason
it.
why a whole lot of Christians
Okay.
got married
Okay.
is to.
I can't hear no more.
Okay.
The singles have more sex than the married folks. That's what I found out.
Ain't that crazy?
And so the married folk trying to get out of it to get to knock boots, and the single folks trying to get.
That is crazy to me.
I'm just saying, I know.
Who says I do to then say no? I don't.
I gotta tell y'all again. I feel my soapbox. We got 6 more. I'm not staying in no sexless. I'm not doing it.
Okay, and let me say it from the female perspective. I'm not staying in no sexless relationship. You're not about to have me over. I don't need that. You're not about to have me over here hot and bothered. And for the younger women, as you age, the intensity increases, baby. It's just part of life. So just know.
All right.
But
please.
I mean, even that, I feel like women just make it seem like it's just a man. A woman has a sex drive too. Mm-hmm. And I'm not about to just be sitting around here being neglected. What? No.
Come on now. Sorry. If you don't.
Somebody else will. Gladly.
Number 2. We ain't got time to get that. We ain't got time to go down.
We'll do another episode on that one.
So number 2, philea.
Yeah.
This is friendship or brotherly love. It's the close bond shared between friends, rooted in mutual respect. Mm-hmm. Trust and companionship.
Yeah.
You go ahead. I'm sorry.
So in short, we're both pouring in. So I'm not the only one investing in it. We're both mutually investing in trust, in the bond. I'm checking in on you, making sure you okay. You checking in on me, making sure I'm okay. And to me, this is why I say in a romantic relationship, it's so layered because already both of these loves are necessary for the relationship to be healthy.
Right.
We can't just have one of them. But in platonic relationships, this is super important too, because I feel like everybody got that one friend that just want to suck you dry. Mm-hmm. And you be like, but are you really my friend if you only taking from me and you never pouring back in?
All right, the takers.
Okay. Number 3.
Storge. We might be butchering these. I just thought about that. This is familial love regarding family. Mm-hmm. Like the love between parents and children or siblings. Mm-hmm. It's based on natural affection, familiarity, and unconditional care.
Right. So your parents might get on your nerves. Your kids might get on your nerves. But you still love them. You still going to take care of them. Even though they do things to rub you wrong, you're not going to just walk away from them.
They're like family.
Even with siblings. Think about how many times growing up, well, you don't have this reference, but for the people who have siblings that are close in age, think about growing up, how you guys would nitpick at each other, but then y'all be like best friends, like an hour later, like, all right, I know we was fighting, but I love you.
Yeah.
Like you get on my nerves, but all right, come on, let's go watch this movie. You do that kind of stuff because the love never diminished, although you guys didn't see eye to eye on something, or even though one may be annoying the other one in that moment.
Okay, this next one, I want you to give the positive.
Okay.
And I also want you to give a negative.
Which one? What's next?
I ain't telling you. You just got to be ready. You got to be
always
be
one
ready.
Positive, one
negative.
Agape. Oh, okay.
This is selfless or unconditional love. Mm-hmm. Agape is often described as the highest form of love, one that is generous, sacrificial, and given freely without expecting anything in return. Come on, give us the negative first.
What? Okay, anyways, agape. He wants me to start off with the negative, but I feel like I'm going to give you both at the same time. So agape to me is necessary in every relationship because every relationship is going to need a level of grace and mercy. However, you have to be very aware, number one, of what are your expectations of the relationship that you're in, right? So like if I'm just passing somebody and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they don't respond, they immediately just get agape. I don't know them like that. I really don't have an expectation of them. So I'm just going to be like, oh, they may not have heard me. Even if they did, it doesn't really matter because I don't know them. So I don't have to engage with them often. In a romantic relationship, agape can be good for seasons, But you cannot sustain a romantic relationship purely on agape, because whoever is doling out the agape, they're going to be pissed. They're going to keep loving you, but they're going to be pissed.
Come on, someone.
I mean, they're going to be hotter than fish grease on the inside, but they're going to keep being like, okay, all right, he gonna get it. He going to get it. And then normally what happens is they end up blowing up. And the other person is like, where's this coming from?
Right.
Because you've been administering agape so well that they didn't even have a clue that you were like a volcano bubbling under the surface. So you have to be careful with being overly sacrificial in a relationship that you actually have expectations. Because if you have expectations and you haven't spoken those expectations and you're just sacrificing over and over, when you blow up, the other person literally has no clue what you're talking about, because you've been so busy just trying to give them everything they're saying they want and need. And it makes them feel like, well, I guess they don't need nothing because they're not communicating anything.
The distinct difference that I noticed with agape, between agape and philia, is that philia has a mutual respect. There's a give and there's a take.
Yeah.
With agape,
one-sided.
One can just give until they decide that they don't want to do it anymore. But there's no end to agape. The individual gives up.
That's true.
Number 5, ludus. And I believe that this is really more common than I realized after we researched it with our culture today. The definition of ludus is this is a playful or flirtatious love. It's lighthearted, often found in the early stages of a relationship, like flirting or teasing, with a focus on fun rather than deep attachment. Come on, air it out.
Okay, so I'm going to just say this. Keep this in your relationship forever if you want it to be healthy and thrive.
Good. That's good.
Because we like joke all the time. We play like big kids and we like are so competitive. So like the thing I can think of quickest was the water balloon fight we had with the kids. So it was me and him and one of our younger nephews. He was smaller, so that's why we put him on our team against all the other kids. And we was lighting them up. I mean, we was just like binking them left and right. You gotta
get them ready for life.
But when you're able to play with your spouse, to me, it creates a deeper bond, because it's like, okay, everything doesn't have to always be so serious. Like, we ain't got to talk about the bills every day. We ain't got to talk about what you got to prepare the kids for every day. It doesn't have to be serious all the time. Like, it's really good to just be able to laugh and just be light with each other. Because then I feel like I'm able to enjoy you more, and I feel like you can enjoy me more.
Now, I was going to say something about the negative. With ludus love, I see a lot with our culture that it starts in ludus. It never progresses past that.
Right.
And so a lot of damage can be done in a season where, and I also see this with individuals who want something serious and they find someone who they have a physical passion or an attraction to, but that other person is not in that phase of their life. So like let's say if you're looking for commitment, I want to settle down with somebody. I'm tired of being out here and I want to just come home to somebody who I just want to be a one man woman.
Yeah.
And then you meet somebody who is playful and doesn't want meaningful connection. They just want to hang out. That can really be a potential problem. And so that's why I think it's so important that you understand. I was reading an article today that said the more healing that you receive, it can possibly limit or diminish the amount of people who you see as a candidate to do relationship with romantically, because your choices become a little bit slimmer because you can see toxic traits. You can see patterns. You're not willing to compromise your core values because they look good. There's a whole lot of people that look good. There's trash on the inside. And so we'll get on that later. So number 5, that was ludus. Number 6,
Can I say one more thing about ludus though? I think another thing that is very prevalent in our generation right now concerning ludus is fear of rejection. So because I'm afraid that you may not like me like I like you, because I'm afraid that you may break my heart, instead I'll just flirt and play around with you and act like nothing is serious, even though
I
in my
really want something
core I
serious.
really want something serious. And then that's dangerous because then you know, then these people become like very toxic and you be like, wait, where is this coming from? I thought we was just friends.
It is courageous. You put yourself up for the potential risk of rejection, but it will save you in the long run to just be upfront
And honest.
and honest in the
Absolutely.
beginning. You save yourself unnecessary wasted virtue,
Yeah.
but you also save that other individual unnecessary. So go on to the streets if that's what you're about,
Yes.
so that you can meet what you need to meet.
Listen, the only currency you never getting back is time. So
I ain't
don't be
making no more of
wasting
that.
it. Don't be wasting it.
I ain't making no more time. So let's see, pragma. We got two more, 6 and number 7. This is number 6, pragma. This is a practical or enduring love. It's about long-term commitment and understanding, like in a marriage or a partnership, where both people make sacrifices and work to maintain a stable relationship over time.
Yeah. I feel like pragma is like the parent of philea.
Let's see that.
And I mean, I think this is something that's really important too. You know, let's make our disclaimer. We do not believe that anybody should be staying in an abusive relationship at all. But in a relationship in general, there are going to be days where you don't like each other. There are going to be days when you want space. And it's not even necessarily because of the other person. I mean, sometimes just as an individual, you just want to like isolate or be all one and just have a moment to reflect and just reset. So there are moments when commitment is necessary to stay in a relationship because your emotions are speaking so many other things. And it's not even because you did anything. It's literally just me and my humanity. So I think that that's important because I feel like sometimes that trips people up too. Whenever you're going through bad seasons emotionally, especially if you don't have the tools or the help you need, it's easy to then begin to like isolate or separate yourself from people, not knowing how important like staying committed and staying connected, how it can really be a safe place.
Yeah. This last one, I'm not going to pronounce it, but I think that it is, it's really good. Then we'll finish. This is number 7, Philautia. You want to take a stab at it? Okay, God bless you. This is...
It's Greek. I'll pull it up.
I think that, let's read it. It says, this is self-love. Remember, we said this earlier, that no relationship possesses just one of these. Your relationship, in order for it to be successful, in order for it to be effective and healthy, it's going to incorporate more than one of these. They will overlap, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's really what the thought behind these wasn't to just make the relationship one type of love. And I think that we have a balance problem in our society today where we overemphasize just one thing. And so you have an overemphasis of the strict. Then you have another group in society that is overemphasis of grace and liberation. And so both of them have a needed concept or a needed piece to the puzzle, but it's the balance between the two that we really have a problem with in our society with both sides. But this one, it says, this is a self-love. I want us to watch overdoing this one, and I think the definition kind of speaks to it because there's a undertone in our culture where I'm hearing and having to even fight myself to not overly emphasize this one. This is a self-love. It can mean having a healthy self-respect, recognizing your worth and caring for yourself, but also warns against being overly selfish or narcissistic. Each type captures a different way of connecting and caring for others, making them all unique but important in human relationships. One of the things that happens when we become, as a byproduct of becoming overly self-aware, especially when we get hurt, we become hypersensitive to anything that resembles, smells, looks like
This is true.
There were seasons of our life where a song would come on, or a movie would come on, or a scent, or a smell, or someone would say something that would trigger a negative season in our life.
Yeah.
When we first got together, even now that it can make you supersonic sensitive.
Absolutely.
And make you overly independent.
Right.
We were talking about that in the last episode, how that was one of your major barriers in becoming jailed in this relationship, was the overemphasis that pain and trauma, that independence came as a result of that.
Right.
And so if you're going to be in relationship with someone, you have to share. You have to be open to expressing where you're at, what you feel,
what you need,
and letting that other person inside of your pain, and letting them walk you through it, and being there in the moment with you, because something happened to you. So this love, we're seeing people set boundaries, healthy boundaries. We're seeing people say no, where in times past in their life they would say because they are no longer fearing being alone.
Right.
I will not compromise my mental health. You've heard folks say it. I'm not putting up with the bull, but I think that it is important to make sure that we're not concluding too quickly.
Right.
My therapist said today, hold by side, that you can make brash decisions on people and individuals because pain says, I don't want to move through what they did. And have the conversation with that individual. And so I see a lot of this in the culture as we embrace mental health, and as we identify red flags in people, places, and things, that we have a very quick cutoff. And so relationships are not lasting as long. This is my last point. Relationships are not lasting as long. Hold on, Mark. Here you go. Relationships are not lasting as long as they once did. Now, I believe that there's positive to that and there's negative to that. The negative to that is that this new breed of folks don't understand the baby boomer generation of staying with the job 40 years, 30 years, and just staying with it, perfect attendance. Because you finding out now, you're not getting nothing for that perfect attendance, but a pat on the back and a little pen on your. So in this day and hour that we're living in, people will leave you. People will say, if you sneeze again, if you come in here sneeze, see all that sneezing, about all that sneezing, I'm gone. So in our discovery of our boundaries and mental health, we've got to make sure and we're fighting for couples and individuals who say, I'm not. One time, it used to be 3 strikes. Now it's 1. Now they're saying 1. Now they're saying 1 strike.
Well, this is what I'll say. It's really dangerous to conclude on someone when you don't know the full story.
That's good.
So if you haven't taken the time to investigate what their history is and why they're responding and reacting that way, it's kind of hard to conclude. Now, of course, if you're in a position where you're unsafe, like, let me tell you something. If he was trying to put hands on me, he wouldn't even got a second chance, okay?
You wouldn't have me. That's what you're saying.
Would have been some sad singing and some flower bringing, okay? Because I just wasn't. So there are like hard no's, okay, that we're not asking you to override any of your hard no boundaries. What I am saying is, if you really want a relationship and you want a lasting relationship, you got to stop and be like, okay, wait, why is she responding that big to me saying no?
That's right.
Or why did he shut down so quick when all I said was, those should be an indicator. Okay, wait, it's something more going on. It's something brewing under the surface.
Right.
You have hit an old place. And if I'm saying the vows that I said to you, and I meant the vows that I said to you, and I really am committed to this covenant, then it's my job to check on you and say, okay, well, where is that coming from? Why are you feeling like that? What did I do? Was it my tone? Was it the words? What triggered you in that moment? Because I don't want you feeling like that. And that should be a mutual exchange.
Anything that is hysterical
is historical.
Anything that is hysterical is historical. So I think we did a good job. I hope we explained them to the point that you can identify. You could identify where you fit when you're moving in these different loves. define it.
Mm-hmm.
Use these definitions to find examples of how you display these different types of love and where they're at in your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and what you would like to see less of and what you would like to see more of from yourself and possibly with the person that you're with or potentially.
Yeah.
But I think we think that it's just good to know
Mm-hmm.
what you're moving in.
Absolutely.
Got to know what you're moving in.
Absolutely.
So we don't know it all, but we do know one thing, that marriage
It's for grown folks.
is for grown folks. Peace.